Hello, beloved friends. It's 12:12 and time for Awareness Moments with Kyra. It is such a pleasure to be with all of you and to open to what wants to inspire us today. You know, one of the things that I recognize is that during times when life is challenging, when there are experiences that we're not familiar with, that we're going into the unknown, that we have an opportunity to really notice, how do we inspire ourselves? What stories do we tell ourselves? What wisdom do we share with our own self and with others? And so delighted for all of you that let me know you're here, wave or speak. And I'm so honored to be in your presence. And we are being invited at this time on our planet to know that we're in a transition mode. And in transition mode, we constantly go in and out of different experiences. One moment, we've got this, we're good. Another moment, we're feeling the intensity of it. Another, we're laughing at ourselves. And yet, we're in this place of movement. And we don't know the final outcome. And yet, what if we do? You know, every great success coach or achievement guru or spiritual coach would agree that we begin with the end in mind. That is a part of our creating the story of what is next for us. We create an idea of what it is that we want to experience. I was thinking about times I've gone through some deep challenges in my own life, some health challenges, some experiences. And one of the things I knew that on the days that days that are good, days that are not so good, is that I recognized that I would tell myself the story of what the outcome is, of knowing it, feeling in it, experiencing, visualizing, actually taking it into my entire being, knowing the outcome. So when I know the outcome is for a better world, for us to have released some of the patterns that have held us in bondage for years and we haven't known how to break. Now, is it pleasant in the breaking free from bondage? If you have ever had a muscle that was atrophied, to return that and begin to break through that crystallized structure is very challenging in those. It's painful. I had a frozen shoulder and 3 severe tears in my rotator cuff. And let me tell you, I'm so grateful I can do this now, is that it was extremely painful to break through that crystallized, whatever it's called, inside your shoulder at that point, and to be able to come through, and little by little, some days were better than others, but I knew the outcome was full range of motion. For me, it was nothing less than full range of motion and complete healing of that shoulder. That was the outcome. That was the truth for me. So no matter what it appeared in that moment, I held to that truth. You know, many situations we can think about, what story do we tell ourselves in the midst of it? Do we tell ourselves a story of victimhood and ain't it awful? Or do we tell our story of our ability to overcome, our inborn strength, our natural awareness of our divine light that always wins? Oh, do we tell the story of the miraculous experiences of our lives? The moments when we've continually had something that surprised us with its magnitude of grace and goodness that changed the whole dynamic in an instant. You know, each one of us have the ability to decide, what's my end story? What is our collective end story? See, I believe that we are in an evolutionary time period that is unprecedented and exciting. And it's one that is bringing us to a global community, one that is unifying us in ways that we didn't even know we needed. And that we have not realized all the ways that we were in bondage to past belief systems and ways of being and doing. And we can't change that until we stop the old patterns. And so even the patterns of our own internal, our busyness, our not taking time to be in nature, to notice the beauty, to care about what is important and valuable for us. So now what's happening, we're breaking those patterns. We're breaking through. We're breaking free to a greater world, to a world that is actually noticing what is of value, that is appreciating those who are making a difference in our lives, appreciating ourselves for our ability to inspire ourselves with the stories that we tell and the stories that we tell one another. Someone shared a post this morning that was very meaningful to me. She talked about her journey of having been really abused as a child, but her story was about the overcoming, was about her path of forgiveness, that she actually, even in the midst of the things that she experienced, was able to find her healing and forgive, and is now free and grateful that those experiences formed in her a different way of being in the world. I was moved by her story. It was so beautiful and profound. And I thought about the stories that we tell ourselves. Doesn't mean those experiences are not happening out here in the world, and we're aware of those as well. But at the same time, yes, the beauty and magnificence of possibility that is engaged in every overcoming, in every ability to rise into a new dynamic. What story are we telling ourselves and one another? And the thoughts that we think are the story that we're telling, the feelings that we hold. And to get to that end that we desire, that we move to where even just a little bit more of us is engaged in that positive story, in that outcome that we desire. A little bit more than before is engaged. And each time we continue to expand our ability to hold that frequency, that vibration of light, to know that we are transforming into a higher frequency, we might say a different dimension. People talk about it in all kinds of ways. It doesn't really matter how you look at that. It's about what are you experiencing in this moment, and what do you know to be true about yourself and your ability to overcome and your ability to thrive through the midst of difficult challenges and difficult situations. What's your particular, you're living, you're here. I see these beautiful beings that are here with me right now. I'm going to acknowledge Kimberly and Mike and Debbie and Amber and Kenneth and Arlen and Debbie and Cynthia and Gaia and Diane and Bev and Jan and Vicky and Gondari. See, I know some of your stories. Oh my gosh, it touches my heart deeply because I know the power of who you are and what you are, and the knowing of who you are as a divine light being on this planet, and your ability to walk through the fire and come out transformed into the true diamond that you are, and to use those gifts to make a difference to other lives. See, what I see in our world is an opportunity for each one of us to know that truth about ourselves and to know it about one another. And then to share that story, to acknowledge each other's strength, each other's wisdom, each other's ability to be a presence for the magnificence that will come as a result of this experience. Do we know all the outcome? No. But we can imagine, we can use our imagination in ways that free us, in ways that serve the planet and one another, that serve ourselves, because we raise our own vibration when we imagine the good, when we imagine the possibilities and the potential of what is happening here. Just the fact that the world has released so much pollution during this time period of slowing down and backing up, that we can start to recognize. It's interesting to me. I've always said that many dimensions are embedded together, and I've been shown this by my guides and told this in channelings that I've done. And what I see and know is that the earth in its pristine form still exists. It is here. We have not experienced that because we've been caught up in all this other. And then eventually, when we figure it out, to hold the right frequency, to stop doing the patterns that create the destruction, but also to hold the awareness that this exists, that we are seeing that right now. It makes me so excited. That story is so exciting because we start to realize what's possible. When we see the end, we see the fact that the earth can be renewed. It is a self-renewing consciousness. It is a self-renewing. We are self-renewing. This world is self-renewing. And when we begin to hold a different story about what's occurring, it's not that we're in denial, and it's not that we don't show compassion, love, and support and care for every being that needs that this time. We want to make sure, but this is a time of unifying, of leveling some of the playing field, of unifying us to where we really are reaching out to one another in new ways, learning to connect, to know our interconnection, to know our connection to our infinite self, but then also our interconnection to all of creation. Now, we know this, and yet we're knowing it at a no level right now. The walls and the barriers are down. So the story that for me is happening is a renewal, is a transformation that is bringing forth the better part of us and bringing it to the fore. And it's time for us to see and notice and proclaim that to one another, to the world. I am so grateful for each one of you that are out there making a difference with who you are, that are out there expressing and sharing a story of the good that is coming, of helping show others what the end game is, what the outcome could be, and that what it results in is a deeper love, a greater care for our humanity, all of us, not just some of us. And to me, that just powers my heart in so many ways, because it's the dream of my life, of my purpose of being, to unify and to allow us to see and know the truth of our oneness, and for us to love and honor Mother Nature and all of creation as the powerful presence that it is. And it does have self-renewing abilities. And we will rise through this like we have so many other experiences. Just remember some of the times you've risen through the most challenging things of your life. Remember, remind yourself, remind one another of the times they've done that you've seen them do that, and help us all come to this place of a new story for our world. What I know is that we're in the midst of one of the most profound, transformative times of our world. And I do not take this for granted in any way, shape, or form. I take it as a most profound gift, a time of remembrance and a time of renewal and a time of the new. Some of it we may not know yet, but what I do know is the creativity that's going to come forth as a result of this, the ability to solve world problems in ways we never even previously imagined, are available to us, and it's good, and it's all divinely inspired. My life has been one of those where miracle upon miracle upon miracle happen in my life, and it's one of those that are actually the natural order of the universe when we open to the awareness of that. For me, a miracle is the natural order. It's when the universe is supporting us because that's its nature. And so if we are to understand that, then we begin to say, yes, well, that is, of course, what always happens. I had a situation where I was really struggling with an injury and didn't know what had happened. I didn't know how to evaluate it or what to do about it. I had a friend I hadn't seen in 5 years calls me. She says, hey, is there any way I could come spend the night on my way through to another part of the country? She was changing sides of the country, and I said, sure. She shows up, she's had an injury, starts to describe what she's doing, what happened, what were the symptoms. I'm like, it's exactly what I'm experiencing. She has the solution for me. She ends up staying a week, teaching me exercises, telling me what I need to do to heal this experience that I had no clue. I tell you, I sat and sobbed when she told me what the deal was, what she had experienced, because I finally, someone could tell me what was going on with me, and I didn't understand. Now, I hadn't heard from her in 5 years. Do you know, we haven't kept touch since then. We've, maybe had a text here or there, or a time we've touched base somewhere, but barely. But she showed up at that moment because it was a divinely inspired moment. Because the way the universe works is that its natural order is to bring forth the solutions we need when we are in the realization that that is how it works. And I know that that's how it's working for this situation as well. The solutions that are going to come and the way that our world is transformed, I can't wait to experience all the good that comes out of this. And I honor each of you being willing to sit and be where you are in this moment, to be in the midst of the change, which is very uncomfortable in the moment. So I love you. I so honor you. Hi, Julie. I see that you showed up, and Lydia. Thank you all so much. And any others of you, Kenneth and Wendy. Oh my gosh, I just love seeing your names on here and knowing who you are in this world, making a difference. And I am grateful for each one of you and grateful to be sharing these awareness moments. Let us be aware of the story we're telling ourselves and one another. Our stories are remarkable. I know that about each one of you, and I can't wait to hear the outcome of the stories that we tell, the new world that is created together. God bless you. Friends, I love you and appreciate you more than I could ever say. Have a great day.